June 24, 1998. Mid-afternoon, an 81-year-old woman named Kathleen Glanville, the former mayor of the town, healthy enough to walk her dog through the park every morning, is found dead in her favorite armchair, shortly after her doctor visits her for what he calls a routine checkup. Her doctor is the most popular family general practitioner in Hyde. His name is Dr. Henry Sharman. He has been Kathleen's doctor for 15 years. He signs her death certificate himself. He lists the cause of death as old age. He recommends the local Dyche Lane crematorium. 3 days later, a solicitor in a small law firm 200 miles south of Hyde in the county of Warwickshire opens a brown envelope addressed to her firm. Inside the envelope is a typewritten last will and testament dated 2 weeks before Kathleen Glanville's death. The will leaves Kathleen's entire estate, her house, her savings, and her contents, valued at £386,000, to a single beneficiary. The single beneficiary is Dr. Henry Sharman. The solicitor reading the will is Kathleen Glanville's only daughter. Her name is Angela Wakeford. Angela's law firm had already written Kathleen's only known will in 1996, leaving everything to Angela's family. Kathleen had never used a typewriter in her life. The signature on the new will is not Kathleen's signature. Angela telephones the Hyde funeral parlor. She demands that her mother's cremation be delayed. By the time the investigation that follows is closed, the most prolific serial killer in modern Western history will have been identified, a respected National Health Service family doctor who has signed the death certificates of more than 250 of his own patients over 23 years. He has also been the most trusted figure in his small English town for 2 decades. How does a single family doctor murder 250 elderly women in plain sight inside an NHS practice in a working-class English town of 50,000 people signing every death certificate himself, without a single colleague, family member, neighbor, or pharmacist raising a flag for 23 years? The answer is that all of them did, eventually. They were all eventually ignored. Henry Frederick Sharman is born on the 14th of January, 1946, in Nottingham, England. His father is a lorry driver. His mother, Veronica, is the strongest figure in his early life. She is a strict, intelligent, working-class woman who treats young Henry as her favorite of 4 children. When he is 15, Veronica is diagnosed with terminal lung cancer. Over the next 2 years, she receives progressively larger doses of liquid morphine, administered at home by the local family general practitioner. Young Henry sits at his mother's bedside through each of these visits. He watches the doctor draw the morphine into the syringe. He watches the doctor administer the injection. He watches his mother's pain disappear within minutes. She dies on the morning of June 21st, 1963, when Henry is 17 years old. He is alone in the house with her at the time. Within 1 hour of his mother's death, he is at his school sitting an end-of-term examination. He enrolls at the Leeds Medical School in 1964. He marries a young woman named Primrose in 1970. They have 4 children. Primrose Sharman, master reference. He qualifies as a doctor in 1970 and takes a junior position at Pontefract General Infirmary in West Yorkshire. In 1974, he becomes a junior partner in a country general practice in the small mill town of Todmorden, West Yorkshire. In 1975, he is caught for the first time. A pharmacist at the practice notices that Dr. Sharman has been writing prescriptions for unusually large quantities of pethidine, a strong synthetic opioid, in the names of patients who have not requested it. Dr. Sharman is collecting the pethidine himself and using it. He admits the theft. He resigns from Todmorden, is treated at a private psychiatric hospital for opioid dependency, and is convicted in 1976 of 3 counts of forgery and 3 of obtaining a controlled drug by deception. He is fined £600. He keeps his medical license. In 1970, he applies for a junior partner role at the Donnybrook Group Medical Practice in the small working-class town of Hyde in Greater Manchester. The senior partners interview him. He is honest about the Todmorden conviction. He says he has been cured. He is hired. For the next 15 years, he is the most popular doctor in Hyde. By the time he leaves the Donnybrook practice in 1992 to open his own one-doctor surgery at 21 Market Street, Hyde, he has already murdered, by the most conservative later estimate, more than 70 of his own patients. The small mill town of Todmorden, Veronica Sharman's bedside, Leeds Medical School lecture hall, his Pontefract junior doctor years, The Todd Morden Country Practice exterior. The Sharman family at home in 1907 Donnybrook. Practice waiting room in 1985. Dr. Sharman's solo surgery opens above a small newsagent at 21 Market Street, Anaheim, on the 27th of August, 1992. He is 46 years old. He is the only doctor in the practice. His receptionist is a friendly local woman from Hyde. His patients follow him from the Donnybrook practice in droves. His method is straightforward. He selects a patient who is elderly, female, lives alone, and has trusted him for years. He waits for her to telephone the surgery about a small complaint, a sore knee, a headache, a chest cold. He drives to her terraced house in his dark green Ford Granada estate car for what he calls a routine home visit. Inside the house, he sits with her in her armchair. He examines her. He chats about her grandchildren. He says he wants to give her a small injection that will help with the discomfort. The injection is an immediately lethal dose of liquid diamorphine. Within 5 minutes, the patient is dead in her own chair. Dr. Sharman then telephones a neighbor or a relative or the patient's family. He tells them with great sympathy that the patient has died suddenly. He says it was peaceful. He says she went in her sleep. He signs the death certificate himself. He lists the cause of death as old age, heart attack, or stroke. He recommends a particular Hyde funeral parlor. He recommends a local Dyche Lane crematorium. If the family asks for an autopsy, he gently dissuades them. Almost no one ever asks for an autopsy. He is the family doctor. He is the most trusted figure in their lives. Over the next 6 years, he kills, by the most conservative later estimate, at least 15 of his patients per year. By more reasonable estimates, 25. His practice becomes the busiest single doctor surgery in Hyde. In late 1999, a young female doctor at a different Hyde practice named Linda Reynard notices that the number of cremation forms Dr. Sharman has been asking her to countersign, a second doctor signature required under English law before any cremation can proceed, is unusually high. She mentions it quietly to a senior colleague. By spring of 1998, the two local Hyde funeral parlors have separately noticed that Dr. Sharman's elderly female patients have an unusually high death rate. Nobody in any of these three independent observations joins the dots. Then, on the 24th of June, 1998, Dr. Sharman murders Kathleen Glanville. The Ford Granada estate car. The doctor's bag of the killer, the doctor's surgery at night, a patient's family in mourning, an elderly woman alone in her armchair. The doctor returning to his car after a home visit. Kathleen Glanville is 81 years old. She is the former mayor of Hyde, widely loved, energetic, mentally sharp, and walks her elderly fox terrier through the local park every morning before breakfast. On the morning of June the 24th, 1998, Dr. Sharman drives to her terraced house in Hyde for what he later describes as a routine checkup. He is in the house with her for approximately 40 minutes. Within 1 hour of his departure, Kathleen Glanville is dead in her favorite armchair in her sitting room. A neighbor, alerted by Dr. Sharman, comes around to find her. Dr. Sharman is contacted. Dr. Sharman signs the death certificate. He lists the cause of death as old age. He recommends Dyche Lane crematorium. Kathleen's only daughter, Angela Wakeford, is a 46-year-old solicitor in Warwickshire, 200 miles south. Angela's law firm wrote Kathleen's only known will in 1996, leaving everything to Angela and her 3 grown children. 3 days after Kathleen's death, Angela receives at her firm a typewritten will dated 9 days before her mother's death, leaving Kathleen's entire estate, worth £386,000, to her general practitioner, Dr. Henry Sharman. Kathleen had never used a typewriter in her life. The signature is plainly not hers. Angela telephones the Hyde funeral parlor and demands the cremation be delayed. The funeral is held back 24 hours. Angela drives the 200 miles north to Hyde. She files a formal complaint of forgery with the Greater Manchester Police. Detective Superintendent Bernard Pendle is assigned to the case. Pendle is 48 years old and has been a Greater Manchester police officer for 26 years. He has never investigated a serial murder before. He pulls Kathleen Glanville's body back from the funeral parlor. He orders a post-mortem examination. The post-mortem shows that Kathleen Glanville did not die of old age. She died of a single injection of pure diamorphine administered into her right thigh approximately 3 hours before her death. The injection was administered by a person with detailed medical knowledge using a clean professional technique. Detective Superintendent Pendle telephones the Greater Manchester coroner, Dr. John Powell. He asks Dr. Powell a single question. Roughly how many of Dr. Henry Sharman's patients have died over the last 12 months? Dr. Powell reviews the figures from the regional coroner's archive that afternoon. He calls Pendle back the same evening with the answer. The answer is 218. Angela's daughter discovers the will Kathleen's life of public service. The dog left waiting at the door. The neighbors laying flowers at the door. The police at Kathleen's terraced house. Pendle at the post-mortem report briefing. The coroner's archive in 998. Between September of 998 and January of 999, the Greater Manchester Police quietly exhumed the bodies of 17 of Dr. Sharman's most recent patients from cemeteries across Hyde and the surrounding districts of northeast Manchester. The exhumations are carried out before dawn in absolute secrecy in order to spare the surviving families and to prevent Dr. Sharman from learning what is happening. Of the 17 exhumations, 15 show lethal levels of diamorphine in the femoral tissue. The other 2 were cremation cases. Cremated bodies cannot be tested for diamorphine. Dr. Sharman is arrested at his Market Street surgery on the morning of the 7th of September, 1998, and interviewed at Ashton-under-Lyne Police Station for 36 hours across 4 days. He denies everything. He smiles. He is calm. He provides detailed alternative medical explanations for every individual case put to him. He claims Kathleen must have typed the will herself, perhaps with a friend's help, and that the diamorphine in his other patients' bodies must come from prescription painkillers they took before he arrived. Detective Superintendent Pendle later tells the official inquiry that Dr. Sharman is the most coolly composed murderer he has ever interviewed. Dr. Sharman is charged with 15 counts of murder and 1 count of forgery. The Crown Prosecution Service selects the 15 cases for which the forensic evidence is overwhelming. His trial opens at Preston Crown Court on the 5th of October, 1999. The trial lasts 57 days. The defense does not call Dr. Sharman to give evidence in his own defense. On the morning of the 31st of January, 2000, the jury returns a verdict of guilty on all 15 counts of murder and on the count of forgery. The trial judge, Mr. Justice Forbes, sentences Dr. Henry Sharman to 15 consecutive whole-life terms of imprisonment with no possibility of parole plus 4 years for the forgery to be served concurrently. In the public gallery, the sons and daughters of 15 elderly women sit and listen as their mothers' names are read aloud into the official record. In 2002, the British Home Secretary commissions a 3-year public inquiry chaired by High Court Judge Dame Janet Smith. The Smith inquiry reviews every death certificate Dr. Sharman has ever signed. In her final 2005 report, Dame Janet Smith concludes that Dr. Sharman murdered at least 250 of his own patients over 23 years. The true number, she writes, is, in all probability, significantly higher and possibly closer to 459. It is the largest number of murders attributed to a single person in the recorded modern history of any Western country. The exhumed cemetery at dawn. The interview rooms at Ashton-under-Lyne Pendle reading the audio cassette transcripts. The defense barrister at trial, the Crown prosecutor at trial, the jury foreman delivers the verdict. Dr. Sharman is sent to HM Prison Wakefield in West Yorkshire to serve his 15 consecutive whole-life sentences. He is 54 years old. He is housed in a single occupancy cell on the segregation wing. He never confesses to a single murder. He never apologizes to a single family. He has visits every Sunday afternoon from his wife, Primrose Sharman. Primrose is the same age as Henry. They have been married for 38 years. She publicly states that he is innocent and that the evidence against him has been fabricated. She is a 63-year-old former housewife with no income, no career history, and no pension of her own. For 4 years, he writes letters, works in the prison library, gives no interviews, grants no requests for psychiatric evaluation, and does not appeal his conviction. Warders describe him as a model prisoner. On the morning of the 13th of January, 2004, one day before his 58th birthday, Dr. Henry Sharman is found dead in his single-occupancy cell at HM Prison Wakefield. He has hanged himself from the bars of his cell window, using strips torn from his own bedsheet. He has timed his death with extreme care. Under the National Health Service pension rules current in 2004, a convicted murderer is officially ineligible to receive his own NHS pension upon retirement. But the same rules grant the full lump sum widow's benefit and a lifetime survivor's annuity to the spouse of any deceased NHS employee who dies before the age of 60. Dr. Henry Sharman, on the morning of the 13th of January 2004, is 57 years and 364 days old. He has timed his suicide to fall exactly 1 day inside the cutoff. His widow Primrose Sharman receives, within 4 months of his death, a lump sum payment of approximately £100,000 and an annual NHS widow's pension for the rest of her life. She has never publicly accepted, in any interview or letter from that day to this, that her husband murdered a single one of his patients. In its final 2005 report, the Smith Inquiry made one principal recommendation: that no death certificate signed by an English general practitioner for any patient who has died at home should ever again be accepted for cremation without the independent review of a second, unconnected doctor. That recommendation has never been fully implemented. There are at present approximately 450,000 general practitioners registered to practice across the English-speaking world. If you want to understand the only serial killer in modern history to weaponize his medical license against more than 400 elderly women, and to see the next killer who used a different professional authority and had his crimes treated as a national hero's work, watch our next case. Because the next killer did not kill in a country doctor's office. He killed inside the prison itself, Wakefield. Prison exterior at dawn. 2004, Primrose Sharman in mourning, the NHS pension letter on the doormat. He killed inside the prison itself.